Want to get to the topics? Are you in a good headspace, or are you?
I don't know if I should take melatonin anymore.
Do you need a minute?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. You want to start with Big Ten coach tiers?
I would love to start with you don't ever have to ask me to start with tiers.
You don't like tiers. That's what you said before we clicked record. You wanted rankings, and I said no. We're going to do tiers because tiers is more fun. So here we are. This was a comment on one of our YouTube videos earlier this week. Somebody said you guys need to do Big Ten coach tiers, and it had like 7 likes. So here you are. I like it. Let's go through all the Big Ten coaches that you want to name. You don't have to do all 14. You'll probably forget a couple programs, to be honest, including probably my program. What are your Big Ten head coach tiers?
Yeah, I was gonna say like, who we putting for Michigan? Are we just putting staff or like what?
Let's do Juwan, but let's envision a fully healthy Juwan, knowing that like his health is something he probably can't live up to. You know?
Okay. All right. So in tier 1, I'm gonna put Matt Painter, Brad Underwood, and Tom Izzo. I'm still gonna put
Name the tier, please.
coaches that could win a national championship.
Okay. Depending on how you named that tier, I was going to give you a lot of shit.
Coaches that I want to coach my team if I'm in a national championship game. Those are the 3 I'm picking from.
I like that answer. I like that tier. I actually endorsed that tier.
Okay. The next one. Good basketball coaches. Just good coaches. I'm going to go Greg Gard. Because I think Greg Gard actually deserves a little bit more credit. I shouldn't put him as low as I actually do.
He's been good.
I'm going to put Mike Woodson in there.
Whoa. Wait. You're giving Woodson credit now?
I think Woodson's done a great job of getting talent to Indiana so far.
Okay.
Could he do it in a different way? Could he make it fit a little bit more? Yeah, he could. But he's got Khalil Ware playing like a top 15 draft pick after being non-existent and only good against folding chairs over the summer.
Yeah.
And he's bringing in guys like Liam McNeely. He might be in the lead for Derek Queen. Derek Queen. There's something there. I'm giving him credit for that.
Yeah.
And then I got Holtman in that category as well.
Okay.
The next category is good coaches, but they let you down. In this category, I got Fran McCaffrey, I got Steve Peichel, and I got Juwan.
Okay. Interesting group to lump together there.
It's very interesting, but you knew this was going to happen when you put me in a tier situation.
Yeah. No, I'm not here to push back super hard on it, given where we are, but I will just note one of those guys has made a Sweet 16 and an Elite 8 and won the Big Ten outright in 4 years of coaching, and the other 2 have been here for a decade plus and haven't done any of that.
That's very true. That is a good point. I feel like I should have noted that, but you can note that in your tiers. In the non-ranking category of this, I'm going to have Mike Rhodes, just because I don't think I can put him in a tier yet. So he's just going to be an outlier, not ranked, not tiered, to be determined. This category I have, there's nothing they can do about it. They actually might be a good coach. In this category, we're going to have Ben Johnson. And actually, now that I think about it, Ben Johnson is going to sit alone in that category.
Okay.
But Ben Johnson might be a good coach, but I don't know if there's anything he can do.
Okay. What does that mean? Just the Minnesota resources?
It's just Minnesota.
Okay.
If in 5 years I told you that Minnesota was like on the verge of being a tournament team, would you be surprised?
Maybe not. I don't know. Like we've seen, like Richard Pitino got him there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
Trevor Mbakwe was good, man.
Mbakwe, that was like in 2008.
Yeah, I miss those days.
I do.
Something about the barn.
Rodney Williams.
One day you and I will go to the barn.
We will. And I will moo in the barn. And then the last category is these coaches stink. Kevin Willard and Fred Hoiberg.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess I don't hate that.
Can you give me credit? I don't think I missed any coaches.
No, I don't think you did either. I'm trying to see. You said, yeah, I'm going through all the names. You did lump a lot of them together and just say like incomplete, but yeah, you got everybody. That's interesting. Okay. I also can't wait until next year when we get to add Dana Altman into this. Like
Cronin.
I feel like it's going to be kind of fun to discuss. I also think Mick Cronin might just run through this league for like a decade when he gets here.
People are going to hate when we add those teams. I'm not moving Andy Enfield from the top ever. I don't care what he does.
All right, here's my tiers. I think honestly pretty similar to yours with one loud disruption at the top. I want to say this. There's two different tiers at the top for me, and I would be okay with either one coming first. This is like tier 1B and 1B. There is no 1A. It's two separate tiers. They're split out, but I don't care which one comes first. My first tier is great coaches. Great coaches in their prime. Matt Painter and Brad Underwood. My second tier is Hall of Fame coach. That's Tom Izzo. The reason I'm splitting this up, and I think they belong in different tiers, is that I think there are very real, fair concerns that Tom Izzo is not going to get back in the portal era. I just think it is what it is. Brad is going to be competitive in this era. Painter is going to be competitive in this era. Tom Izzo, we don't know. If this year's team is not competitive, I don't know what we're supposed to say. Because next, all this talent back next year, Mady Sissoko starting at center for his fifth year next year again. Like, I don't know what we're supposed to do. He's still a great coach. If, with your hypothetical, get to a national title game, who do I want coaching? Izzo is in arguably more than Painter and Underwood. Like, if I could just coach my team for an elimination game, I'll take Izzo over anybody else in the conference. But that's not, like, you got to build a roster to get there. And that's why I have Brad and Painter in their own separate split. Whichever way you prioritize it is fine by me. Those are the top two tiers for me.
Last question. Who's the best roster builder currently in the Big Ten?
Painter.
Painter?
Yeah, Painter. Because Painter, like...
I'd argue it's Underwood.
No. Underwood will have years where he builds the best roster, and then he will have years where he builds a terrible roster.
Yeah, I was just really I was focusing on right now on this one.
Yeah, Underwood's too volatile with his approach. Obviously, when it hits, it's the best. But I think, I like Paint. Paint brings guys in that are talented, and then he keeps those guys. Like, he hasn't had a one and done in his entire career, and he's had really talented players come in and impact games as freshmen. He's always going to have a 7-footer who's elite. He's figuring out how to contribute in the portal and plug the gaps. Like, Purdue's always going to have a competitive roster. They have every single season. So that's it. All right. This is where it gets interesting for me. Tier 3 is coaches, I believe, can win the Big Ten. And in general, I have faith in on a year-to-year basis. Fran McCaffrey, Chris Holtmann.
Didn't know if Fran was going to make this one for you.
Yes. So I give Fran a lot of credit because while I say that Iowa is a sleeping giant, the reality is that, like, Iowa basketball probably shouldn't win anything ever. Mm-hmm. And I think Fran has given them way more success in the last decade just in a conference level than I would ever expect Iowa to have. So obviously the March stuff stinks. The March stuff applies to both these guys right now. Like, Chris Holtmann had a really bad little stretch in March. But I think any given year, those guys put, like, high quality basketball teams on the floor. They get NBA players in their system. They feature them. They have all conference guys. Holtmann's team looks really good this season right now. I know a lot of people saw that coming, but I trust that those guys are good coaches, even when they have like little blips on the radar. Those are guys that can finish top 4 in the Big Ten on a consistent basis. Next tier. Guys I think are good coaches that have limited ceilings and do it ugly. Greg Gard, Mike Woodson, Steve Peichel.
That's a great tier. Great name, all fitting. Love that.
Like good basketball coaches objectively. Would I ever really be excited if they were my coach? Probably not. And now Peichel might change this because Peichel has 2 of the top 3 recruits in the country next year. So maybe Peichel will redefine his ceiling entirely. But for now, like ugly basketball teams, guys that win games that aren't going to win a national championship.
Okay.
You'll notice I'm now 8 coaches in and haven't named a coach who has made an Elite 8 and a Sweet 16 and won the Big Ten outright in 5 years. Just want to make that known. The next tier for me is guys I think can be good coaches and have been good coaches, but I would never want touching my basketball program. Juwan Howard and Kevin Willard.
The coach of your current program.
Guys that I think have been good coaches that I would personally never, ever want leading my program. Juwan Howard and Kevin Willard.
Solid tier.
Is what it is. That leaves us to the bottom 4. I guess I'm kind of doing the same thing as you. My second to last tier is guys that can have a year every 10 years. Chris Collins, Ben Johnson, Mike Rhodes.
I forgot Chris Collins in my rankings.
Chris Collins, Ben Johnson, Mike Rhodes, or have a year every 10 years, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then my bottom tier is disaster. That's Fred Hoiberg.
Fred Hoiberg might be the biggest finesser of all finessers. He's making like $3 million.
Yeah, he's making $3 million to be handsome and show up to Lincoln though. Like they're getting what they want from Fred Hoiberg.
It's worth every penny.
They had Tim Miles, man. Tim Miles had him finish 4th in the Big Ten one year, and they said, "Get out." Like
we met Tim Miles too, by the way. Great guy,
the nicest guy. He's incredible. So, all right, that was a fun segment. I enjoyed that. Do you feel good about our tiers collective?
Good job. I really like yours.
Who do you think won? Whose tiers are better, yours or mine?
Honestly, I think you won.
I kind of like how you did the top better than I did the top, though. Like I kind of like that you lumped the 3 together.
Yeah, I think if we could combine our 2, I think it'd be perfect. But I think I lean towards yours.
Who do you think is the closest coach outside of Painter, Underwood, Izzo to being in that tier?
Ooh, I think that gap is extremely large.
Me too. But if like you're pressed to say names, I feel like you had Gard the closest according to your tiers, but who would be the one to break through if there was one?
Ooh.
See, this is where I throw my tiers aside on this because I think the highest upside guy is Juwan.
I was going to say Juwan or honestly Woodson.
Okay. I don't hate Woodson.
Yeah. Like if Woodson could mesh the talent he gets with the actual fit, could be extremely dangerous.
Or Holtman or Peichel. I wouldn't hate those answers. Yeah. Peichel, like with the recruits coming.
Holtman, if he just gets over the hump.
Yeah. But I think my gut answer is that like the highest ceiling guy is still Juwan out of everybody, even though I have him way further down. But he's the only one that's done anything like that. So I don't know. It's a gross. To summarize, the early 2000s was the golden era of Big Ten coaches. Like late 2000s when Beeline got going, and you had Bo. Crean had great years. Thad Matta was incredible. Like
Izzo,
there was just great Hall of Fame coaches everywhere, and now we're out here standing for Greg Gard.
Yeah, who was that? Like, would that fall under like early Turgeon years?
Yeah, there was a year I think where Turgeon overlapped with those guys, and he had Maryland top 5 in the country. Like
Maryland fans need to take a deep look into their mirror.
No comment.
Throwing
Let
it
that
out
go.
there.
We'll let that go. Tim Miles was also around for some of these years. Good coaches in this
Just
conference.
great, just good coaches.
Yeah. Okay.